Hello, dear friends. Let's continue reading discussing Bhagavad Gita and peace. Chapter 1, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, or observing the armies on the battlefield of Kshetra. Last time we discussed a few texts, starting from text 29. We discussed 9, 30, and 31. These are the words of Arjuna. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. Text 30. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Kashi demon. The text 31st. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsman in this battle. Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, and happiness. So today we are going to try read texts 32, 33, 34, and 35. These are combined in one big section of texts, 32 to 35. I'll also try to read few notes. Gauranga Priya book, and we will try to find some purports of Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur. So, and the last time when we were discussing text 30, the Kashi demon, I checked, and the Kashi demon represents not the demon of illusion, he represents the demon of false ego or false misconception. The true ego means I am spirit soul, I am the eternal servant of the Supreme Lord, and the false ego means that the person thinks of himself as a part of some family, country. He thinks of himself as a servitor of someone, but not the supreme. This is the false ego. And I also we were reading the text purport by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and here I had a little misuse of the word piti. Of course, it's not piti, it's piety, which means that Arjuna thinks, thus it is better that I die rather than kill them, as there is no piety in this killing. Which means that killing of these relatives who were assembled there on the battlefield, Arjuna did not think about this as the pious action. He thought about this as something which was forbidden by the scriptures. So he did not consider this fight as something that gave him a good perspective and consider it as something good for him. These were two mistakes which I committed, I did, I had last time. Oh, texts 20, 32, 34, 32, 33, 34, and 35. Try. Nonetheless, I will try to read the Sanskrit. Hope I will I will not make any mistake. Himno Rajena Govinda, Him Bhogair Jitenava, Yesham Ardhe Kankshitamno, Rajyam Bhoga Suna. Ta ime Vasthita Yudhe, Pranam Yaktva Ananicha, Acharyan Pitarah Putras, Tathaiva Cha Pitama. Mātulāk švāšurāk pautrah, Shyālāk sambandhinas tadhā, Etānā antam ichāmi, Nātapi madhusūdanā, Api trailokya rajasya, Heto kimnu krite, Nihātya dhartarashtrānah, Kā prīti ya Janardana. Translation. O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Arjuna has addressed Lord Krishna as Govinda, because Krishna is the object of all pleasures for cows and senses. By using this significant word, Arjuna indicates that Krishna should understand what will satisfy Arjuna's senses. But Govinda is not meant for satisfying our senses. If we try to satisfy the senses of Govinda, however, then automatically our own senses are satisfied. Materially, everyone wants to satisfy his senses, and he wants God to be the order supplier for such satisfaction. The Lord will satisfy the senses of the living entities as much as they deserve, but not to the extent that they may covet. But when one takes the opposite way, namely when one tries to satisfy the senses of Govinda without desiring to satisfy one's own senses, then, by the grace of Govinda, all desires of the living entity are satisfied. Arjuna, Arjuna's deep affection for community and family members is exhibited here partly due to his natural compassion for them. He is, therefore, not prepared to fight. Everyone wants to show his opulence to friends and relatives. But Arjuna fears that all his relatives and friends will be killed on the battlefield, and he will be unable to share his opulence after victory. This is a typical calculation of material life. The transcendental life, however, is different. Since a devotee wants to satisfy the desires of the Lord, he can, Lord willing, accept all kinds of opulence for the service of the Lord. And if the Lord is not willing, he should not accept a farthing. Arjuna did not want to kill his relatives, and if there were any need to kill them, he desired that Krishna kill them personally. At this point, he did not know that Krishna had already killed them before their coming into the battlefield, and that he was only to become an instrument for Krishna. This fact is disclosed in following chapters. As a natural devotee of the Lord, Arjuna did not like to retaliate against his miscreant cousins, brothers. But it was the Lord's plan that they should all be killed. The devotee of the Lord does not retaliate against the wrongdoer, but the Lord does not tolerate any mischief done to the devotee by the miscreants. The Lord can excuse a person on his own account, but he excuses no one who has done harm to his devotees. Therefore, the Lord was determined to kill the miscreants, although Arjuna wanted to excuse them. In this text, we see that Arjuna calls Krishna by the name Govinda, which is significant. Govinda the means Krishna, who is a reservoir of pleasure for both cows and senses. So that's why by addressing Krishna as Govinda, Arjuna indicates that he wants Govinda to satisfy his senses, Arjuna's senses. But how can he be satisfied, Arjuna thinks, if those people who he can enjoy the opulence with will be destroyed on this battlefield? And He also calls Krishna by the name of Madhusudana, which means the killer of the Madhu demon. And if I remember it right, the demon Madhu represents the illusion. Here, Arjuna says that he sees the teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, paternal uncles, fathers in law, grandsons, brothers in law, and other relatives. So he named all the important people for him, and it shows his deep affection for these people. And of course, he does not want to kill them. Why should I wish to kill them? Says, even though they might otherwise kill me. In other way, Arjuna is more willing to be killed by his opponents, by his enemies, rather than to kill them. This battle. O maintainer of all living entities, he says to Krishna, I am not prepared to fight with them even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. So, Arjuna does not want anything from this battle. At the beginning, before the battle, he wanted to win this fight, no matter what. It was established fight. They gathered over there, the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna was ready to fulfill his duty, to fight this battle, and to give the crown of the emperor to his elder brother Yudhishthira, who should be a king, the emperor. But here we see that Arjuna is not so determined now. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? And again, we see the main what pleasure will we derive? So he speaks about his pleasure. What will he take from doing so? In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that, of course, by addressing Govinda, Arjuna indicates that he wants Govinda to satisfy the senses of Arjuna, not other way around. But Govinda is not meant for satisfying our senses. Yes, Govinda, he can satisfy the senses of any living entity. If we try to satisfy the senses of Govinda, however, then automatically our senses are satisfied. Yes, but this is the right way to be happy, to satisfy the senses of Govinda. And moreover, the Prabhupada says here, without desiring to satisfy our own senses. This is important. If we satisfy the senses of Govinda, thinking about our own senses. This is a not so good option. It is much better to satisfy the senses of Govinda without desiring to satisfy our own sense. And in this way, by the grace of Govinda, all our senses are satisfied. We have many desires. This is normal state of life. Every living entity has numerous, endless desires. And when we fall into the material existence, these desires, they become the source of turbulence and the difficult life for us, the source of agitation and unease. But when we have desire to satisfy the senses of Govinda, and we can have very many desires, unlimited desires to satisfy his senses. And in this way, we are automatically satisfied. Arjuna's deep, Arjuna's deep affection for community and family members is exhibited here, partly due to his natural compassion. Arjuna is a great devotee of the Lord, so compassion for the other living entities and especially relatives is a normal part of his character, his life. So his compassion, this is absolutely normal for him, and it is displayed in this verse. He is therefore not prepared to fight. Everyone wants his own opulence to be displayed. Everyone wants to show opulence to friends. If everyone will be killed, how is Arjuna going to show his opulence? Whom will he show this opulence to? This is typical calculation of material life. The transcendental life, however, is different. Why is it different? Why is transcendental life different? Srila Prabhupada says, devotee wants to satisfy the desires of the Lord. So he does not want to satisfy his own desires. He wants to satisfy the desires of the Lord, and the devotee can accept all the opulences of the world if Krishna wants this. But if Krishna does not want, the devotee will not accept even a farthing, as Srila Prabhupada says over here. Here we go. Lord, um, since a devotee wants to satisfy the desires of the Lord, he can, Lord willing, accept all kinds of opulences for the service of the. Again, why devotee can take or accept the opulences only because he can use these opulences for service of the Lord. If this opulence is disconnected from the Lord, from the service of the Lord, devotee will not accept it. Why? Why should he? Why should he accept something which cannot be used for the service of the Lord? Why should he use something for his own sense gratification? Devotee thinks. So, in this way, he can accept anything, Lord willing, for the service of the Lord. But if the Lord is not willing, he will not, devotee will not accept even a, something very inexpensive. He will not accept even a little coin if Lord doesn't want. Arjuna did not want to kill his relatives, and if there were any need to kill them, he desired that Krishna kill them personally. So Arjuna does not want to kill his relatives. If they should be killed, Arjuna thinks, let Krishna kill them himself. At this point, he did not know that Krishna had already killed them. Yes, yes. After the opposite side, the warriors on uh, the side of sons of Dhritarashtra, after they insulted a great devotee of Krishna, Draupadi, at the gathering of after the game uh, in the palace in Hastinapur, after they insulted her, they were already doomed. They were already destined to find their death because Krishna wanted it. This fact is disclosed in the following chapters. As a natural devotee of the Lord, Arjuna did not like to retaliate. So Arjuna could Arjuna would not retaliate to the miscreants like his cousins and brothers, and he would not do any harm to them. He would excuse them for anything. But the Lord does not excuse anyone who who does something bad to his devotee. The Lord can excuse a person who has bad feelings toward himself, toward Lord, says some bad words about the Lord, who does something bad about to the Lord, but the Lord cannot excuse anyone who does something bad towards his devotee. And the sons of Dhritarashtra, they did harm to the Lord's great devotee, Draupadi. Therefore, the Lord was determined to kill the miscreants, although Arjuna wanted to excuse them. Even Draupadi wanted to excuse the sons of Rashtra, but Krishna, he could not excuse anyone who did harm to. What did Gauranga Priya Prabhu say about this? Srila Prabhupada now compares typical calculation of material life and transcendental life. Typical calculation of material life. The show-off tendency. So everyone wants to show off his opulence to friends and relatives. But Arjuna fears that all of them will be killed on the battlefield. And the second typical calculation of material life of material person, to be so-called good man. Arjuna did not want to kill his relatives. He even and even if there was no need, if there was a need to kill them, he desires that Krishna kill them and he should be not involved. So the first part is just Arjuna thought about showing off his opulence. And the second part of material calculation, first it was Arjuna was afraid that there would be no one to show off, to show his opulences too. And the second one was Arjuna wanted to, to be so-called good man. And what is the calculation of transcendental life? Transcendental life, devotee wants to satisfy the Lord's desires. This was the first. Second, he can, Lord willing, accept all the opulences for the service of the Lord. And the third one, if the Lord is not willing, he should not accept even a farthing. So we see that the material calculation is centered within uh, his person's own interests. Want this person wants to have um, opulences and relatives, friends, good relations, to show his opulences too. And also this material calculation, person with this material calculation wants to be so-called good man, while the transcendentalists, they want to satisfy the desires of the Lord. They can accept anything, no matter how wonderful it is, if it's connected with the service of the Lord, or if Lord is not willing, they will not accept even a little. Right, let's see what Chakravarti Thakur has. The text. What is the use of kingdom, enjoyment, or even living? Those for whom we desire kingdom, enjoyment, and happiness, teachers, fathers, sons, and grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and relatives, are standing on the battlefield risking their lives and wealth. I do not desire to kill, even if I were to be killed by them, O Madhusudana, even for sovereignty over the three worlds, what to speak of this earth. O Janardana, what happiness will we achieve having killed the sons of Dhritarashtra? I noticed one detail. It's at the beginning, those for whom we desire kingdom. enjoyment and happiness. So in this case, Vishwanath Chakravarti, he translates this part not like that Arjuna desires the kingdom for himself, in a kingdom enjoyment and happiness for himself. He desires kingdom enjoyment and happiness for teachers, for fathers, sons, grandsons. A little different. Compare again. O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom happiness or even life itself, when those for whom we may desire them, well, Srila Prabhupada translates it in the same way, because I did not see it before. For whom we may desire them, for whom we may desire them. Here, Arjuna also says about the desire not only for himself, but for teachers, for sons, for fathers, for grandsons, and all the others. Not only for himself. You write down in the commentary section, what do you think about this? Does Arjuna want this kingdom, happiness, and life for himself? Or he wants his teachers, fathers, sons, grandsons, and all the others to enjoy the kingdom? I think that we stop here. If you have any questions, please write down below. See you next time.